Creatine is one of the most effective supplements when it comes to gaining muscle mass. However, if you make any of the 13 most common mistakes that most people tend to make without even realizing it, unfortunately, it won't have the same effect, and worse, it could even cause problems for your body. So, stay tuned until the end because I'm sure you have no idea how common mistake number 7 is. Mistake number 13. Taking creatine on an empty stomach. When you take creatine without eating, it can cause gastrointestinal discomfort like nausea or stomach pain. That happens because, on an empty stomach, the stomach lining is unprotected, and creatine can irritate it. To avoid these problems, it's recommended to take creatine after a meal, especially one that contains carbs. Carbs help increase insulin levels in the blood, which in turn can improve creatine absorption by muscle cells. In other words, if you take creatine on an empty stomach, you're missing out on the supplement's full potential and wasting part of the money you invested in it. The best carbs to consume with creatine are the ones that are digested and absorbed quickly, like fruits, fruit juices, white bread, or potatoes. These foods quickly raise blood glucose and insulin levels, making it easier for your body to absorb the creatine. Mistake number 12. Not increasing your water intake when starting creatine. This topic is really important, so pay close attention. When taking creatine, staying well hydrated is crucial, and that's not just a vague piece of advice. Creatine works by increasing the availability of phosphocreatine in the muscles, which helps with the rapid production of ATP, the main source of cellular energy. However, this metabolic process can increase the body's demand for water. If you're not drinking enough water, some problems may arise. Lack of water can lead to dehydration, especially during intense workouts when the body loses water through sweat. Creatine can increase water retention inside muscle cells, which is beneficial for physical performance, but it also means the body needs more water to maintain proper fluid and electrolyte balance. On top of that, creatine is metabolized by the kidneys and excreted in urine. Not drinking enough water could potentially raise the risk of kidney problems, although that's rare with normal doses of creatine and proper hydration. Mistake number 11. Using the wrong dose. One of the most common mistakes is using the wrong dose in hopes of getting better or faster results. Many people mistakenly believe that increasing the dose will maximize the benefits, but obviously, that's not true. In reality, the body has a limited capacity to absorb and use creatine, so taking more than necessary won't bring any extra benefits and can actually be harmful. Taking an excessive amount of creatine beyond the recommended dose can overload the kidneys, leading to issues like dehydration, muscle cramps, and even long-term kidney damage. Determining the right dose can vary from person to person, depending on body weight, physical activity level, and individual metabolism. Generally, following the manufacturer's instructions is a good starting point for beginners, but if you're still unsure, seek help from a professional nutritionist. Before we move on to number 10, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because, in times when the supplement and pharmaceutical industries are trying to push anything just to take your money without caring about your health, having access to the right information is what's going to help you save and make healthy progress in the long run. Mistake number 10. Stopping use during training breaks. When you start supplementing with creatine, it's crucial to take it every day, including weekends, holidays, and rest days. Creatine works by building up in the muscles over time, increasing work capacity and muscle recovery. Stopping creatine suddenly, even for a few days, can lower those creatine levels in your muscles, causing you to lose part of the gains you've made. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research showed that continuing creatine supplementation even during periods of training inactivity helps keep creatine levels high in the muscles. The study involved 2 groups of athletes who were instructed to stop training for a month. One group continued taking creatine daily, while the other stopped. The participants who kept taking creatine during the 4-week training break maintained greater strength and muscle mass compared to those who stopped supplementation. The results showed that the group who continued taking creatine retained significantly more strength and muscle mass than the group who stopped. So don't forget, take creatine every day, whether you're training or not. Mistake number 9. Neglecting creatine quality. Chances are you know someone who always tries to save as much money as possible on everything they buy, even if it means getting a counterfeit product of questionable quality. But doing that with creatine can be a big mistake. The quality and purity of creatine are essential to ensure its effectiveness and safety for the consumer. High-quality creatine ensures that the product contains the correct amount of the active compound and is free from significant impurities. Low-quality creatine or creatine with inadequate purity can cause several issues, such as gastrointestinal discomfort, nausea, stomach pain, or diarrhea. On top of that, the presence of contaminants like heavy metals or microorganisms can pose serious health risks, including poisoning or infections. To avoid problems with low-quality creatine, it's essential to buy from trustworthy and well-known manufacturers that perform quality testing and ensure the purity of their products. Checking the brand's reputation, reading user reviews, and choosing well-recognized brands on the market are good practices for picking a safe supplement. I'd say that if you don't have the money to invest in good quality creatine, it's probably safer not to take it at all than to take some sketchy counterfeit crap. Mistake number 8. Thinking you need a specific time to take creatine. A lot of people believe it's crucial to take creatine at specific times to maximize its benefits. But the truth is, creatine can be effectively taken at any time of day, as long as it's not on an empty stomach. That's because creatine is stored in the muscles over time, so there's no need to be super precise about the exact moment you take it each day. As we've already mentioned, the ideal is to take creatine with a meal that includes carbs and, if possible, some protein to help with efficient absorption. This helps optimize muscle saturation gradually, which is more important than the exact timing of intake. So, if you forgot to take creatine at a specific time, don't worry. Just take it normally that day, whether it's morning, afternoon, or night. Mistake number 7. Taking it mixed in smoothies or protein shakes. A common mistake is mixing creatine into protein shakes or other thick liquids that don't allow the powder to fully dissolve. This can result in a significant amount of creatine settling at the bottom of the container. Taking creatine this way means you're not getting the full dose, since the powder that ends up at the bottom often doesn't get consumed. So, not only are you wasting money, but with each passing day, you're also missing out on the proper creatine dose. To avoid this problem, creatine should be mixed in a liquid that allows it to fully dissolve, like water or fruit juice. It's important to shake the container well until the powder is completely dissolved. This ensures you get the full dose, maximizing the effectiveness of the supplementation. A practical, though not very common, alternative is a method known as dry scooping, or taking the creatine powder directly into your mouth and following it immediately with a sip of water to swallow. This method can be seen as a way to ensure the full dose is consumed with no waste, since there's no risk of the powder not fully dissolving in a liquid. However, you should be careful with this technique, as taking dry powder directly can pose a risk to your throat and respiratory tract, potentially causing choking or discomfort. Mistake number 6. Choosing the wrong type of creatine. A lot of people don't know this, but there are different types of creatine. Creatine monohydrate is the most researched and proven type in terms of effectiveness. It's known for increasing muscle strength, performance in high-intensity workouts, and muscle volume through water retention in the cells. Because of its high effectiveness and relatively low cost, creatine monohydrate is usually the best choice for most athletes and individuals looking to improve physical and muscular performance. On the other hand, variants like creatine ethyl ester are marketed with the advantage of better absorption and less water retention, which can be appealing to those wanting to avoid the bloating that sometimes comes with creatine monohydrate. Other forms include creatine HCl, which is water-soluble and may be easier to digest for some people, resulting in less gastrointestinal discomfort than monohydrate. To choose the right type of creatine for your body, keep in mind that if you want fast strength and volume gains along with a cost-effective product, monohydrate, the most classic version of creatine, is the ideal choice. If bloating is a concern, options like ethyl ester or HCl might be worth considering. However, the truth is that you'll only know for sure which creatine works best for your body, or whether you should even be taking this supplement, after you hear the next instruction. Mistake number 5. Forgetting to consult a doctor before starting. Some people need to be especially cautious before beginning creatine supplementation. This includes those with kidney, liver, or heart issues. Creatine is processed by the kidneys, and if someone already has kidney problems, adding creatine could put even more strain on them, leading to serious complications. Additionally, people with liver conditions should also be careful, since the liver is responsible for many metabolic functions, and creatine supplementation could affect liver performance. As for those with heart problems, caution is needed because creatine can influence water and electrolyte retention, which may impact blood pressure and heart function. Because of these factors, to make sure creatine is safe for you, it's essential to have a medical consultation before starting it. A doctor can assess your overall health, look at any existing medical conditions, and determine whether creatine is safe in your case. Skipping this step could lead to serious health issues. For example, someone with kidney problems who takes creatine could experience worsening kidney function, leading to symptoms like swelling, extreme fatigue, and, in severe cases, kidney failure. You definitely don't want that. Before choosing a type of creatine, it might also be helpful to talk to a nutritionist or healthcare professional to discuss which form best fits your health profile and training goals. Mistake number 4. Not monitoring side effects. A few days after starting creatine supplementation, it's a good idea to stay alert for changes in your body, especially negative side effects. Ignoring symptoms like stomach discomfort, for example, can lead to more serious issues. In addition to gastrointestinal discomfort, which may include nausea, stomach pain, and diarrhea, other possible negative side effects include muscle cramps, dehydration, sudden weight gain, and changes in kidney function. If you notice any of these symptoms, it's crucial to pay attention and consider stopping creatine. Stomach discomfort could be a sign that your body isn't tolerating the supplement well. Muscle cramps and dehydration may indicate that creatine is affecting your body's electrolyte balance. Sudden weight gain, especially if it's due to fluid retention, could be a warning sign for kidney issues. Changes in kidney function can be especially serious and might show up as swelling, fatigue, or even a change in the amount of urine. The solution to these problems starts with immediately stopping creatine supplementation. Stop taking the supplement and see if the symptoms improve. Then, consult a doctor to assess your health and determine whether the symptoms are actually caused by creatine. The doctor may recommend adjusting the dosage, changing how you take it, or, in more serious cases, advising you to stop using creatine altogether. Mistake number 3. Expecting instant results. The effects of creatine on the body take time to show up. Everyone responds differently to supplementation, depending on factors like genetics, diet, workout routine, and how their body absorbs and uses creatine. Typically, people start to notice improvements in physical performance and muscle growth after about 2 to 4 weeks of consistent use. A relevant study on how long it takes to notice changes with creatine was published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, and it showed that, on average, participants began to notice a significant improvement in performance and muscle size after approximately 3 weeks of supplementation. Mistake number 2. Not maintaining a proper workout routine. Not keeping up a proper workout routine is a critical mistake when taking creatine because the substance works as an energy support for muscles during intense physical activity. Creatine is stored in the muscles and used to produce fast, efficient energy, especially during high-intensity, short-duration exercises like weightlifting and sprints. Without a solid workout routine, creatine's potential goes to waste. It's like drinking an energy drink and then going to sleep right after. The supplement helps increase strength, power, and muscle mass when your muscles are consistently challenged and stimulated through regular exercise. Without that stimulation, creatine has nowhere to act, which means you're wasting its potential benefits. But remember, this doesn't mean you shouldn't take it on a day when you decide not to work out. What we're saying is that if you decide to stop exercising for an extended period, like a few weeks, then it might be best to stop taking creatine too. Mistake number 1. Neglecting healthy eating. Studies show that individuals who maintain a nutrient-rich diet, especially high in carbs and protein, tend to see greater gains in strength and muscle mass when supplementing with creatine. A relevant study was published in 2003 by Louise Burke and her collaborators, who investigated the effects of creatine in athletes following a high-carb diet, making up 70% of their total energy intake, versus a moderate carb diet, making up 50% of their total energy intake. The study tracked participants over several weeks, monitoring muscle mass gains and improvements in athletic performance. The results showed that those on the high-carb diet experienced a more significant increase in muscle creatine levels, which led to more substantial improvements in strength and endurance during high-intensity workouts compared to those on the moderate carb diet. Now, one last very important warning. There's no point in taking creatine and training hard if you're still making some of the biggest mistakes most people don't even realize they're making. If you want to know the 11 mistakes that are trashing your workouts, we've got that video showing up on the screen right now. Thanks for watching until the end, and God bless you, my friend.